Shiloh, and I'm going to be reading Kitchen Creepers. Have you ever ordered a package online that you couldn't wait to be delivered? But then you finally get it, and it wasn't what you expected. Or perhaps it was more than what you expected. Well, in this case, it was a bit of both. One day, a package was delivered to our home. I thought it was from a reliable company like Amazon. But now looking back, it may have come from the Amazon jungle. Be careful when ordering things online. Be very careful. Why? Keep reading and you'll find out. Chapter 1. Beware what you eat. It's finally here! Shiloh jumped off the sofa to answer the doorbell. He was pretty sure it wasn't the neighbors complaining about his dogs barking or the pizza guy. It had to be the magical gummy snakes he ordered last week from ScubaDive5.com, aka the coolest website ever. It sold all sorts of weird stuff, like spaghetti tennis balls to vacuum buddy slippers. Shiloh had never been into crazy gadget stores like his mom, who was obsessed with kitchen thingamabobs. However, he couldn't refuse when he was being sold a 2-pound gummy cobra snake that could magically create mini gummy snakes. And it was only $9. It was quite a steal. His mouth watered at the idea that he could have an unlimited amount of candy. He couldn't click the buy now button fast enough. Shiloh knew his parents wouldn't like his greedy purchase, but he hoped that in time they would warm up to it and see how it would actually save them money in the long run. He vowed he would never ask for money for candy again. Why would he? He was about to grow his own gummy snakes. It was only last Friday when the Onyx family was playing another game of WSNYDTW. What's something new you did this week during dinner? When Shiloh thought his family could be amazed with ScubaDive5.com. And he was wrong. Really wrong. You get viruses from that scam of a website, Dad said, in between bites of fried rice. Where did you even find that place? Shiloh crossed his arms in defense. My favorite YouTuber did a review on one of the products and linked it in the description. It's not a scam. Sure, his computer was running a bit slow since visiting the website. And yes, it crashed every day now. But that didn't mean it was a virus. It was all merely a coincidence. At least he hoped so. His family just needed to stop being so skeptical all the time. And if they were suspicious, they should at least be fair about it. No one questioned his sister, Shiloh, about the weird, out-of-the-way vegan restaurants she visited. One time, Shiloh brought back some leftovers from a place called Lonesome Larry's Chinese. Shiloh wondered why Larry was so lonely. Oh yeah, he thought, because no one wanted to eat there because the food was so terrible. The tofu was too spongy and the rice was too stale. He had to say though, the spring rolls tasted out of this world, but his pride would never admit that to his family. That's right, you can't trust those types of websites, Sinead said. That's rich, coming from someone who clicks on spammy fashion ads all the time, Shiloh retorted. Shiloh snorted on his chocolate milk, trying to hold in a laugh. He loved how Shiloh always defended him in cases like this. He would definitely be sharing his gummy snakes with her. Yeah, you should stop buying from that tacky store, said Shiloh. He and Shiloh high-fived. The two sisters loudly bickered until their mom scolded them for ruining dinner time. WSNYDTW was supposed to be chaos-free, not some petty little circus. Even though it was Shasha's day, his mom made them do all her dishes for punishment. The three of them had to endure the taunting from Shasha as they grudgingly did her chore. You missed a spot. Might want to put some elbow grease into that. Shine that pot until it sparkles. Shiloh remembered that she really had a good time at their expense. But that was last week. Today was the day his precious gummies were delivered. After thanking the delivery guy, Shiloh tore apart the package and laid the pack of candy on the counter. He had to set up the table first before feasting. Shiloh laid a spotless white tablecloth and got out his mom's special china. He then lit 2 candlesticks and got dressed in his best suit and tie. After all, this dinner did deserve some fanciness. Shiloh set the heavy gummy snake on the plate and waited. The back of the box said to wait 10 to 27 minutes for it to wake up and produce candy. But he couldn't wait that long. He took out an air horn from a drawer and hollered, "Wake up!" startling it. The gummy snake jolted awake and glared at him. So it wasn't a scam. The gummy snake was actually alive. Shiloh scratched behind his head. Sorry for waking you up so rudely, but I wanted to see if you could magically create mini gummy snakes or not. The gummy snake just stared. Look, I'm hungry, and if you don't get those gummy snakes a wiggling, I have to ship you back to scoopdive5.com, Shiloh demanded. With a look Shiloh could have sworn was an eye roll, the gummy snake started to move around in circles. First slow, then faster, and faster. It was going faster than a washing machine swirling around. Shiloh didn't think it would be possible for the gummy snake to slow down anytime soon, when she suddenly did, with a pile of baby gummy snakes in the middle. Finally, some candy! Ah, much thanks to you, Miss Gummy Snake, Shiloh patted her head. Now, I must enjoy these scrumptious snacks. All thanks to you, of course. And with that, Shiloh sat down in his suit to enjoy a snack. The mama's eyes widened. Before the shocked snake could say or hiss anything, Shiloh grabbed a handful of mini gummy snakes and stuffed it into his mouth. Needless to say, these tasted kind of plain. Shiloh preferred sour over sweet gummy snakes, but he would take these for now. Maybe the mother snake had some seasonings in her back pocket to spice them up a bit, because this tasted like sugar-free candy, and Shiloh hated sugar-free candy. When you eat candy, you're supposed to get the full experience. The sugar rush, cavities, and even the crash. Sugar-free candy took all the fun away. It was like taking salt out of a pretzel, or the cheese from a pizza. Hey, would you mind sprinkling some powdered sugar on this? Shiloh asked. I won't charge you, but it will affect the rating I'll give. I was hoping for them to taste sweeter. The mama gummy snake was horrified. Adding insult to injury, Shiloh was obnoxiously chewing. She was ready to take him down. No one was allowed to mess with her babies. Before Shiloh knew it, the mama snake slid around his ankles and tripped him right up against the counter. He tried to quickly crawl over the counter, but she wrapped her thick tail around him, making him unable to move. No! Shiloh yelled out, but it was too late. He was trapped on top of the counter. She was about to teach him a lesson he would never forget. Chapter 2, The Mother Load. Last bottle and done! Shasha backed away to see the final product. Moi! Shasha blew a kiss. I've created a masterpiece. For our class, her teacher assigned the students to make a sculpture based on what you love. Well, Shasha truly loved soda. So, what did she do next? She dragged her parents to the store and brought hundreds of soda cans. When she got home, she spent 3 hours building a robot statue out of it. She was sure her teacher would give her an A+ for this. No! Shasha paused. Was that Shiloh? She waited to see if she heard it again. Silence. It must have been my imagination, she thought. Help! Startled by the cry for help, Shasha ran downstairs to see what was going on. It was quiet again by the time she got downstairs. Since it was quiet, she slowed down to catch her breath. She thought that maybe Shiloh was calling her to the kitchen to help open that weird gummy package he brought online. But as Shasha rounded the corner to the kitchen, she found out she was right and also wrong at the same time. Shiloh was calling her for help, but not to open the package. He needed help getting out of the grasp of the strange gummy snake. What in the world? Shasha screamed, terrified. Shiloh, are you okay? I'm alright, but I don't think I like gummy snakes anymore. Get this creepy thing off of me! The giant gummy snake was wrapped tightly around Shiloh's body. The closer Shasha got, the more the mama snake hissed and bared her fangs. The situation was dangerous, so Shasha knew she needed to proceed with caution. She thought about tiptoeing quietly, so the mama snake wouldn't feel threatened. But as she took another look at her brother trapped under its snares, all caution went out of the door. "Get off him, you slimy slithering thing," she demanded. "Hiss!" The snake refused. Fine then, she thought. If that snake wanted to get difficult, then she would play vacuum too. Shasha grabbed a broom and waved it at the snake. "If you won't get off willingly, then I'll force you off," she threatened. Bad move. The snake lashed on to the handle and ate the entire broom. Shasha just stood there, mouth gaping open. I'm gonna have to go and get someone else to help you," Shasha whispered to Shiloh. "Seriously? Don't leave me here with this gummy goon," Shiloh yelled. "Shh, sorry, I'll be right back." Shasha dashed into the next room and called only two people that could handle a situation like this. "Tom, Jerry, I need your help." Chapter 3, The Snake Experts. When the Onyx Kids are in trouble, the first people they usually call are Tom and Jerry. Not to be confused with the cartoon cat and mouse, but the two silly handymen who could never quite get things right. They were like family to Shasha and Shiloh, and the only people who would answer a call at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. Despite them bungling every situation and making things worse, at the end of the day, things would oddly work out. Realizing she was no match for the snake, she picked up the phone and dialed 1-800-TOM-JERRY. The E was missing in the number, but that's how it was supposed to be dialed. "Hello? I need to speak to Tom. It's an emergency." Okay, calm down. Who's this?" "It's me, Shasha. Hurry, we need you to come quickly." "Hello? Are you there?" Shasha looked at the phone to see if it got disconnected. Ding dong, the doorbell sounded. Was that them? Shasha thought, that was so quick. How did they do that? Shasha opened the door to let Tom and Jerry in, but as they tried to enter together, they both got stuck in the doorway. "Jerry, I'm supposed to go in first. After all, it is my business. Remember that." Tom pushed him back. "Sorry, boss." Shasha observed this and thought if they couldn't even get through the door together, how are they supposed to work as a team to catch this snake? "Alright, where's the rat?" Tom walked in, ready to fight. Shasha looked around nervous. It's not a rat, it's something way worse. "Ah! A bear! Nya!" Jerry squealed and hid under the closest table, accidentally knocking over a vase. Tom rolled his eyes. Sometimes he wondered why he hired such a clumsy guy. But then he remembered that he paid Jerry next to nothing, and no one else would take the job. "Of course it isn't a bear. This isn't a cabin to the woods, Jerry," Tom said, turning to Shasha. "So, what is it?" Shasha guided the pair towards the kitchen. The three peeked their heads around the corner to get a better view of the creature. They had to be quiet, or else the snake might see them. "A snake!" Jerry shouted. He tried to run out, but Tom yanked him back. "Get back here! It's just a harmless snake." He turned around to take another look and let out a slow whistle. What a beauty. Shasha and Jerry looked at each other in confusion. Beauty is not the word I would use. Scary is more like it, Shasha said. "That's why you guys have to be very careful handling her." Tom's eyebrows shot up. "What do you mean, you guys? I thought we were working as a team." Before Tom could finish his sentence, Shasha zoomed upstairs and locked her bedroom door. So much for teamwork. "She's gone, boss," Jerry shrugged. "I want to be gone too, boss." "And leave Shiloh to handle this? Not on my watch." "Okay, Jerry, I know exactly what we need to do." "What's that, boss?" "You get the snake off of him, and then I'll snatch the boy away. That snake is hungry. It wants food. If we give it something to eat, then it will let go of Shiloh." "How do you know if it's hungry? It looks more like it's angry than hungry to me," Jerry questioned. "What do you know? Who's the boss around here? Me or you?" Tom shook his fist. "You're the boss, boss!" "Okay, now that that's straight, Jerry, go in the fridge and get her a piece of meat. How do you know that it's a her, boss? Because I'm the boss and I know everything. And besides, look over there. She had babies. Oh, you're so smart, boss. I'm so glad I work for you. You know everything. Right, and don't you forget it. Because I know everything about gummy snakes. You have nothing to worry about, Jerry. Just follow my instructions and everything will work out perfectly fine. We'll be out of here in no time. Jerry nodded. Got it, boss. Wait! Tom shoved Jerry into the kitchen. While all this was taking place, Shiloh was under the snake, trying his best to slide away. But nothing he did could free him. It was just too heavy. It was taking Shasha so long to get help, Shiloh wondered to himself. It was only a matter of time before this mama got bored and decided to feed him to the rest of her snake children. Shiloh shuddered at the thought. Shasha! Hurry up! He shouted. Shh! A deep voice interrupted Shiloh's screaming. We're gonna get you out of here, okay? Shiloh looked up, see a familiar face peeking around the corner. Was that Tom the handyman? If Tom was here, then Jerry was around here somewhere. A second later, he spotted him tiptoeing to the kitchen. Shiloh really didn't want to deal with the both of them right now. Oh no, that's okay, Shiloh whispered. Shasha says she's calling a professional to help me, so you guys don't need to do anything. Tom gave him a weird look. That's why she called us. Oh great, Shiloh truly was stuck under the snake forever. He thought Shasha would have called a strong bodybuilder that could lift that snake off. Or maybe even Superman, so he could use his lasers to burn the snake down. But Tom and Jerry, the same people who tried fixing a busted pipe with a fire extinguisher, no offense, but he literally did not want their help. Shiloh sighed. Maybe he could give them one more chance. Alright, what's your plan? Shiloh asked. Jerry pulled a piece of fried bacon from his pocket. Here, Snaky Snaky, he baited. Send it this way. That was the plan? Trying to distract with bacon? This was worse than Shiloh imagined. The mama snake's head snapped up in surprise. She seemed to study the intruder and the food he was dangling. She didn't seem to like him or the bacon. Here, Snaky Snip. In an instant, the snake opened its mouth and bit Jerry's arm right off. Jerry! Tom and Shiloh gasped, but it was too late. Jerry was now armless and baconless, and the snake was still on Shiloh. Jerry ran out of the kitchen. It bit out my arm, boss, Jerry said. What should we do now? Tom grabbed Jerry's sleeve and took him aside. We need a different plan, he whispered. You see, you did it the wrong way. Jerry looked puzzled. What? Always approach a snake with your left arm. Don't you remember that in science class? Now go out there and try that again. Okay, Jerry said cheerfully. Tom pushed him back to the snake, pleased with himself. Maybe their plan would work now. That's my boy, Tom said. But within seconds, Jerry screamed and stumbled towards him again. He bit off my other arm, boss! Poor Jerry. This plan was clearly not working, but Tom wasn't getting it. You nincompoop! Who told you to use your hands? You need to use your foot! Tom yelled. Your left foot! It was pretty awkward for Shiloh to hear the argument from the kitchen, so we decided to break the ice with some small talk. So, this is kind of weird. How's the husband? Hiss! The snake replied angrily. I guess he's not in the mood to talk right now, Shiloh thought. Tom and Jerry stepped back into the room. Sorry about the delay, Shiloh. Now that Jerry's had some work done. Shiloh pointed to the two brand new mannequin arms. I'm gonna try it again to get that snake off. Shiloh was shocked. Jerry looked like he was part mannequin. Tom rolled up his sleeves. If that snake couldn't be baited off, he would just have to push it off. He went beside Shiloh and started counting down. 3, 2, 1. Shiloh was confused. Why was Tom counting? Go! Shiloh got his answer when he was shoved right off the counter, landing not so softly on the hardwood floor. That was easy, Tom said. One little push got that snake right off. Yeah, not really, Shiloh said. Tom and Jerry ran around the counter, only to discover Shiloh was on the floor with the snake still on top of him. This was impossible. This snake was stuck like glue to him. Do we need a giant pair of tongs or something to unstick that creature? This is a very sticky situation, Jerry. Tom rubbed his mustache. Just then, his eyes lit up. I have an idea. I gotta go get the car and get something. He ran outside, knocking Jerry over, who couldn't pick himself up because of his long mannequin arms. Chapter 4, An Arm and a Leg. Thanks, boss. I want to thank you again for the new arms. Jerry had finally gotten himself steady when Tom walked in with a strange bag. What do you have in your bag? I have a small answer to our big problem. Tom opened up the bag for Jerry to take a peek. Jerry reached in and pulled out a flute-like looking instrument. What's this, boss? Remember when you said you played the flute in your high school band? Tom asked. Boss, I said I was playing cymbals, and I was by myself. They kicked me out of the band because they said I kept on scaring people. I didn't know I had to read the music to know when to play it. If you didn't read the music, then when did you play it? When I felt like it. Tom rolled his eyes. Jerry, you better not screw this up. Think of this as another chance to prove yourself. Today, you're gonna be a snake charmer. A what? Jerry looked confused. A snake charmer is the person who plays the punji, a flute-like instrument that Jerry was holding. It is thought that the sound of the music hypnotizes the snake, and then you're able to control their every movement. So, you want me to play this flute so that the snake can dance off with Shiloh to the music? Tom nodded enthusiastically. Boss, there's only one problem. I can't play this thingamajiggy. I don't have any working arms. Tom paused to consider this new dilemma. No worries, Jerry. I'm actually a professional at playing instruments. I was first chair in my high school band playing the bazooka. When the snake hears the melodious sounds I make, it'll go right to sleep. But boss, I don't see any ears on the gummy snake. Jerry, you sound so ignorant. All snakes have tiny ears on the side of their head. And because you're blind doesn't mean that the snake is deaf. Meanwhile, Shiloh still laid on the cold floor, wondering what in the world they were talking about in the other room. He thought maybe they were buying a giant forklift so that he could be lifted off the snake. Or maybe they were buying oil so they could slip him off. But Shiloh started to think that maybe Tom and Jerry actually had a plan. That is, until Tom and Jerry started shimmying to the kitchen with a flute, playing belly dancing music. What was going on? Shiloh opened his mouth to tell them off for being so ridiculous. But suddenly, the mama snake started to rise up. The plan was working! To everyone's surprise, when Tom began to play the music and sway back and forth, the snake also began to unravel from Shiloh. Raising its head high in the air, it also began to sway. It's working, boss! It's working! The music is working! Jerry exclaimed with excitement. Hey, it's working! Shiloh scrambled to his feet, finally free. Keep it going! The snake was actually dancing. It twirled around, slithering left and right. It loved flute music. Shiloh grabbed the flute from Tom. I want to try! Tom tried to take the flute back, but Shiloh was too quick. One minute, the whole room was filled with catchy tunes. The next, ear-splitting meals on a chalkboard screech. Shiloh did not know how to play the flute at all. The snake stopped his dancing and glared at Shiloh. How dare he interrupt a good song? The snake pounced at Shiloh and knocked him down, trapping him again. With a thick tail around him, back to square one. Chapter 5, Be a Snake. I can't believe we're back to square one. Tom buried his face in his hands. Boss, I have an idea, Jerry piped up. I doubt it, Tom mumbled. No, really, boss? I think it's actually good. Well, actually, it's not really my idea, it was yours. And at that, Tom's head perked up. Okay, maybe it'll be a good idea since it was mine in the first place. Let me hear it. What if I become a snake? Jerry imitated the slithering of a snake. That is, the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Well, you came up with it, boss. What are you talking about, Jerry? How can this crazy idea be mine? Remember when we were sneaking up on the snake and you pointed to me and you pointed to the snake? You were telling me to be a snake. What am I going to do with you, Jerry? I wasn't saying that you should be a snake. I was saying that you should go and feed the snake. Tom folded his hands back into his hands and stood there in frustration. Jerry hung his head in shame. He thought that it was a great idea, but obviously it wasn't. Just then, Tom's head popped back up. You know what, Jerry? We're going about this all wrong. You're right, boss. I'll go get my cymbals. Jerry took a step towards the door. No, you knucklehead! That'll only make it worse. I have another idea. I can't believe I didn't think of this before. We can't just walk in there and capture the snake. We have to be the snake. Really, boss? You really think my idea is good? Your idea? Tom gave him a stern look. I mean your idea, boss. Jerry nodded up and down. Right, my idea. He took Jerry by the shoulders. The plan will be that we act like snakes. We'll slither on the ground like this. Tom immediately got on the ground and began to wiggle about like a snake. Then to Jerry's surprise, Tom stuck out his tongue and began to hiss like a snake. Jerry will hang out with the snake and become snake friends. We'll win its trust. Oh, boss, it's a great plan. And boss? Yes, Jerry? I would make a great snake because I don't have any arms. Jerry, we'd make an excellent snake, he said with confidence. If we do a convincing enough job, the snake might just follow us out the front door. With that, Tom jumped to the floor and started slithering around. Jerry enthusiastically joined him. Shiloh saw two large things slithering in the kitchen, and at first he was terrified that the gummy snake called in reinforcements. But with a second glance, he saw it was the two handymen. What are you guys doing? We're snakes, kid. Tom whispered like it was totally normal to see a grown man slithering on the floor. Is this part of your plan? Yup. Shiloh thought for sure he was never going to get away from this snake. Leo, time for your feeding. Shasha shook the can of food to lure her pet to eat. Get it while it's still hot. It had been a while since Shasha had locked herself in her room. She thought that it was very boring, but totally worth it based on the chaos she had been hearing downstairs. She was so glad she didn't have to deal with that icky snake. Besides, Shasha had another snake to worry about. Her pet Leo. She hadn't seen him since last night. She was worried about him. She knew that wherever he was probably hungry, since he didn't eat breakfast or lunch yet. I wonder where Leo could be, Shasha thought. She knew that the best way to find him was to go downstairs and look, but she was scared. Maybe Tom and Jerry free Shiloh. I'll just go down and take a peek. Hopefully I'll find Leo and Shiloh sitting together and reading a book. She slowly made her way downstairs and peeked around the corner to find Tom and Jerry slithering around like snakes, hissing at one another. What in the world are you guys doing? She exclaimed. In order to catch a snake, you gotta be a snake. Tom grunted out of breath. It's hard work. Shasha shook her head. Why do I even bother? Shiloh saw his sister. Shasha, get me out of crazy town! I have a gummy snake around me, and these two weirdos are on the floor pretending to be snakes! Shiloh tried to reach out for her. She turned to Shiloh and yelled at him to the floor. Sorry, Shiloh. This whole brother or sister thing was nice while it lasted. I guess you're gonna have to live with the gummy snake in Gummyland. Don't forget to write me. Let me know if there's any gummy bears there as well. I guess it says goodbye. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, and sayonara. Wait, Shasha! You just gonna leave me like that? Where's the loyalty? Shasha paused for a moment, contemplating all the good times she had with her brother. For a second, she felt jealous that he was gonna go to Gummyland, and she couldn't go too. Why did he get all the fun? She shook her head to clear the envious thoughts. Could she just walk away like that? What would be the fate of her brother if she did? Could she really leave Shiloh's rescue in the hand of these incompetent wannabe snake catchers? Not on my watch! Shasha shouted. She startled everyone in the room, including the snake, who briefly looked up in her direction. Tom and Jerry stopped slithering for a few seconds to see what she was yelling about. Chapter 6, Love Bite. Just when Shasha was about to make her move, all of a sudden, there was movement in the corner. It was another snake! Oh no! It slithered right into the kitchen, heading right towards Shiloh and the giant gummy snake. The only thing more troubling than one giant gummy snake were two giant gummy snakes. Well, actually, there were 4 snakes. Remember, Tom and Jerry were still flopping around on the floor. Unfortunately, they didn't see the new snake coming around on the other side of the kitchen island. These 2 clowns were coming towards Shiloh on one side, while the other snake glided on the other side. The moment became tense as Shasha watched each party advance in a second, colliding with each other. But Tom and Jerry didn't realize that they were about to come face to face with not only the giant mother gummy snake, but also with the father. And they thought the mom was difficult. Wait until they met the dad. All of her gummy babies were still in a pile on the kitchen countertop. 2 of her babies were still lying in 2 pieces from when Shiloh had bitten off his favorite cut flavors. What would be the fate of Shiloh? What would be the fate of Tom? What would be the fate of Jerry? What would be the fate of Shasha? What would be the fate of the Onyx home with all those gummy snakes growing up to be fully grown giant gummy snakes like their parents? Right when everything seemed to be hopeless, the mother snake saw her father snake coming. She let go of Shiloh to get slithered towards him. Seeing the giant gummy snake let go of Shiloh, Tom and Jerry jumped up and began to do a celebration song and dance. Shiloh and Shasha, seeing everything from where they were standing, tried to get Tom and Jerry to pipe down so the snakes wouldn't change their mind and attack all of them. The mommy and daddy snakes seemed to hug for a second and make a heart shape. All of a sudden, the baby snakes slid off the counter and joined their parents. "Run and open the door, Jerry!" Tom ordered. Jerry hurried to the front door and threw it open, just in time for the family of gummy snakes to leave and go outside. Where they went, no one knows. Was there really a gummy land, or did they go to the candy store and live? I suppose they went back to the candy store. That was all good news for the boys and girls who love gummy snakes, because that would mean they wouldn't run out of their sweet treats. Now that Shiloh was free, he forgot about all the danger he was just in. He turned to Shasha and asked, "I wonder if I can ask them to make a cherry orange flavor." Shasha shook her head. "Shiloh, I don't think that would be a good idea. Why don't you get some other kind of candy?" "Like what?" "Because I love gummy snakes, I mean gummy baby snakes." "I don't know, Shiloh. What about gummy bears or worms?" "No!" cried Tom and Jerry. Shiloh and Shasha jumped with glee. High five! If you want to read The Kitchen Creepers too, you can check out our books at Onyx Publishing or at Amazon and other select stores.